Good afternoon, everybody. Today we're going to be doing some different technique prior to our painting. These are drills that you can do by yourself. We're working dry into wet. And you see me washing the page with water. I'm washing in a small section, and then I'm writing my name with a loaded brush. The goal here is to get it so the letters are clear, legible, let's say legible. They're going to be blurry because we're working into a wet page, but try to avoid having them bloom to the point where you can't even read the letters. So as you're doing this, you're realizing that you need to use a brush that doesn't carry too much water, and you need to control the amount of paint on the brush. We're going to do a second exercise that builds on this, where we're going to try and effectively place 3 trees into a wet page, a wet area, at various distances. So the first tree, you can see the page has a little gray on it, and I'm using a small brush, and I'm going to be adding a distant tree, very light, but I want it to read as a tree. I don't want the paint to move around too much, so I have to control the amount of pigment on the brush. The second tree is basically a darker version, a little bigger and darker. And this last version, the last tree, is darker still. So in each tree we're using a little different mixture of paint, trying to achieve soft edges in all 3, but control the tonality of the tree. In this last exercise, we're taking this idea of trees and imposing it upon a scene where we'd have a mountain in the background, trees in the midground, and then reflections into a lake. So the first area that I painted is basically the shape of a mountain, and then I was painting a lighter brown color towards the bottom to emulate dry grass on the shoreline. Above this, I'm adding pine trees, and all about the same value on dry paper. So I have nice, dry, hard edges. As we finish this up, we shape the top of the grass a little bit, and we add a little bit of, now we're preparing the water surface. So we're painting the reflections of all of this. First start with a little bit of a graded wash, making it a little darker towards the bottom. Then a little darker version of the color we used in the mountain, and painting the reflected mountain. The second part will be just adding a little bit of light, warmer color to the front grassy area to get some color in the grasses, reflected color. And anywhere that we notice a chance for improving the image, we'll add some darks or some edges to try and do that. I'm spraying the bottle to keep this area of reflection wet. Now I'm adding a dry paint into this wet area. Very little water on the brush, a smaller brush, about the same size I was using above, but I'm really trying to control the amount of liquid that I carry to the brush. You can see that it's all kind of blooming. We have soft edges in all of the reflected trees, hard edges above. And as this dries, I'm carrying a little bit of that gray color up to the shoreline and adding some distinctive edges to the shore to get more of an edge of the surface, and that creates the reflection.